Hi, my name is Ashwani Kumar and welcome to my channel. So in the previous lectures, the complete first unit, that is teaching aptitude, is done with detailed explanation. So you can check all those videos in this YouTube channel. And the candidates who are watching this video, if you are not yet subscribed the channel, then please do subscribe and share this channel to as maximum as possible to the candidates who are preparing for the UGC NET exam 2020 or in future. Why? Because in this channel you are going to get the complete detailed explanation for each and every topic regarding the UGC NET paper 1, including the PPTs. This PPTs, whatever I am teaching here, you can download this PPTs. The downloadable link I am providing in the description box of this video, and along with that link I am also providing my WhatsApp invitation link also, so the candidates can able to join in with respect to that link, and you may discuss your questions or your things regarding only the UGC NET paper 1. Fine. So in this video we are going to see about the research aptitude. It is the second unit. So in this second unit, it is a part 1. So in this part 1, what are the topics we are going to see? So before going to the topics today we are going to discuss, first I am going to show you the syllabus. What is the syllabus of this second unit, that is research aptitude? See here, the total 6 topics are there. One is the research, second one is the methods of research, and next steps of research, next thesis and article writing, and applications of ICT in research, and research ethics. So total is 6 topics are there, and out of these 6 topics we are going to discuss right now in this video this topic, that is a research. And coming to the UGC syllabus, in this research topic, that is the first topic of the unit 2, we are having the meanings, types, characteristics, positivism, and post-positivistic approach to the research. These are the topics are given, and I divided these topics into the 5 topics, like the definitions of the research and what are the types of the research, and the characteristics of the research, and the positivism approach to the research, and the post-positivism approach to the research. So total is 5 different types of topics we are going to see right now in this video. So here the first topic is the definitions. So how can we define the research? So actually the word research is composed of the 2 syllables. That is nothing but one is a re and the second one is a search. Re means repeating again and again, repeating again and again. That means in this repetition process you are going to get some new ideas doing again and again. Okay, so a new thing means if you are repeating any one thing, any one work, then you will be master in that work. How you become master in that work means, if you are doing any one work for the first time means definitely you will do some delays. Okay, so with the respect that those delays, you will learn something, and whatever the things you learn from that one, if you did the same work for the second time, you will do a little bit faster. And if you do the same work for the third time, you will do that work more faster. So more faster means you are learning something by repeating that work. Okay, by repeating the same work you are learning something. So whatever the things you are learning new, that new thing is make you to do the work in a very much faster way comparing with the previous work done. So the same thing is applicable here in the research also. So re means repeating again and again. That means doing the literature survey. Okay, so just go to the past issues or the past papers, okay, past previously published journals, and just try to search for something, whatever the problem or whatever the concept you want to get. Okay, so search means you have to examine closely and carefully to test and try or to the probe. Fine. So together they form a noun describing a careful and systematic and patient study and investigation in some field of knowledge undertaken to establish facts or the principles. So it is the exact meaning of the research. And now, research is a structured inquiry that utilizes the acceptable scientific methodology to solve problems and create new knowledge that is generally applicable. Okay, so whatever the research problems you identify, those research problems can be solved by doing the literature survey or getting some data, okay, getting some data based upon those research problem. And you can able to get the create new knowledge also. Create the new knowledge means if you study any one research journal, any one research journal, so at the end in some papers they will give the conclusions or they will give the future scope. Okay, they will give the future scope. In this future scope, they will just mention that what next we can do with the present concept. Okay, so that thing you can do. And the scientific methods, right? So whatever the scientific methods that is mentioned here, the scientific methods consist of systematic observation, classification, and interpretation of the data. All these things we can do with the scientific methodologies. And coming to the research here, I kept the 3 points regarding the research. It is being undertaken within a framework of a set of philosophies. Okay, so philosophies means approaches. Philosophies means approaches, just like the example qualitative, quantitative, and the academic discipline in which you have been already trained. Okay, that comes under the philosophies. That means whatever the concepts you already trained and whatever the concepts you already got the master's degree, then you have to set some framework on that one to get the perfect idea regarding the research, and uses procedures and methods and techniques that have been tested for their validity and the reliability. The meaning of validity is nothing but it means the correct procedures have been applied to find the answers to a question. Okay, correct procedure you have to apply, and that is a valid procedure which can give the answers to the questions. And reliability means it refers to the quality of the measurement procedure that provides repeatability and accuracy. Means whatever the experiment you are taking, if you do for the first time, whatever the results you are getting, if you do the same experiment for the second time after 2 to 3 days, you have to get the same results. Okay, that is nothing but a reliability. Fine. And the research is designed to be unbiased and objective. So what is this unbiased and objective is nothing but unbiased and objective means that you have taken each step in an unbiased manner and drawn each conclusion to the best of your ability and without introducing your own vested interest. Fine. So unbiased means whatever the things are there and whatever the things you are following to get the conclusion for your research problems, so those conclusions should not introduce your vested interest. Okay, so that conclusion must be perfectly related to the research problems. And whatever the conclusions drawn with the help of this unbiased and objective means whatever the conclusions drawn, and all these conclusions must be best of your ability. Best of your ability means whatever the literature survey you did previously, so based upon that one, and whatever the journals you studied, whatever the concept you studied, based upon those concepts only you have to give the perfect objective. Fine. It should not include your own assumptions and your own imaginations. Fine. And next, coming to the types of the research, it is the second concept. Coming to the types of the research, here based upon the applications we are having the two types of research. Based upon the objectives, the research you are undertaking, the four different types of research categories are there, and based upon the inquiry mode, the two different types of research are there. So coming to the applications, pure research and the applied research is there. So in a simple way, the pure research means it's simply based upon the hypothesis. That means only the descriptive type of thing will be there, not the practical things. And coming to the applied research means we have to do some experiment in the laboratories and we have to apply the concept to any one practical issues or the real issues. Right? And coming to the objectives types, descriptive research, correlation research, explanatory and exploratory, that we will see in the next slides. And in the inquiry based mode, structured and unstructured approach. Right? And while coming to the application of research study, as I told that pure research and applied research, the two types are divided. So coming to the pure research, it involves developing and testing theories and hypotheses that are intellectually changing to the researcher but may or may not have the practical applications. Right? May have the practical applications at the present time or in the future. So for example, if any one scientist gave one statement or the hypothesis based upon the space, that means we're having some millions of planets are there apart from the 9 planets. So if such statements are given, we cannot able to apply such type of statements to the practical situations. Okay, we cannot able to directly apply to the practical situations at the present time or in the future also. So that type of research is called as a pure research. And coming to the applied research means it must be the solved practical things. When practical questions must be there, and there must be policy formulations, administrations, and understanding of the phenomena, and it can be exploratory. Okay, but it is usually descriptive, but it can be exploratory, and it is almost always the basic part. Okay, it is always a basic part of the research. So coming to the applied research, definitely the people has to come with particular practical solutions without having any type of hypothesis or the assumptions. And the experiments you have to do in the laboratories or in some type of things, but practical solutions must be perfectly there to the identified research problems, right? So it is applied research, and based upon the objective, as I told, that the 4 different types are there. The first one out of the 4, the first one is the descriptive research. So the descriptive research, it attempts to describe systematically a situation, problem, phenomenon, service or a program, or provides information about the living condition of a community, or describes attitudes towards an issue, right? So it just describes in a systematical way. So whatever the problem is there, that problem will be described in a very systematic way. So what is the situation actually? What is the problem? What is the phenomena? What is the service or the program? What exactly the information is provided? Okay. So for example, say the living condition of a community. Okay. So how the living condition of a community. So in a community, what is the situation is there, and what are the problems are facing by the community, and what phenomenon exactly they are maintaining to maintain that community, what are the services or the programs are provided by that community. So if you find out such type of details regarding any one living condition of a community, it is comes under the descriptive type of research, fine. And next one is the correlation research. The name itself, it is mentioning that co-relational, that means we have to maintain the relation between the 2 parameters. So this correlational research attempts to discover or establish the existence of a relationship or the independence between the 2 or more aspects of the situation. For example, if I am taking the temperature and the human life, temperature and the human lifestyle. So if the temperature is one parameter and the human lifestyle is another situation, so how can I make the relationship between, or the interdependence between both these two, is that if the temperature increases, then automatically the lifestyle of the human being will be changes. Am I clear or not? If the temperature is down, then the lifestyle also changes. Why? Because if the temperature increased, then the food habits of the human beings, and the way they are living in their houses, and the way they are working in the working places, so and the timings. Okay, if you check the students, the college, the school timings also changes. So like that, based upon the temperature, the human lifestyle also changes. So like that, if you find out the relation or the interdependence between the 2 situations, then it comes under the correlation research, fine. And next, while coming to the explanatory research, so this explanatory research, what it does is that it attempts to clarify why and how. Is there any relationship between the 2 or more aspects of a situation or phenomenon? That means if you are taking any one situation, what are the parameters affecting this situation? Okay, what are the different types of parameters are affecting the situation? And once if you identify, if you want to make the situation as a very good, or if you want to create a better situation, then how can we control these parameters? All these issues are comes under the explanatory research, fine. So let's take any one situation. Let's take the classroom. Okay, in the classroom, if the students are not interesting the lectures, or else if the students are not getting the good marks, then we have to find out the different parameters why the students are not getting the good marks. So if you once find out the different situations and what is the relationship between the situations, then we can able to overcome the problem of the students to get the good marks. Okay, so if you can able to identify the situations for not getting the good marks, then automatically by making the relationship between all these parameters, we can make the students to get the good mark. So that is the comes under the explanatory research. And next one is a exploratory research. So coming to this exploratory research, it is undertaken to explore an area where little is known or to investigate the possibilities of undertaking a particular research study. That means whatever the research area you are selecting, so regarding that research area, very little amount of exploring will be there, and you have to investigate more and you have to do the more practical research study on that one. That means you have to make the explore, okay, you have to make the explore that research area, but because the information regarding that area will be very less, it is called as a exploratory research. And based upon the inquiry mode, we are having the two different types of research types. One is a structured approach, and the second one is a unstructured approach. So coming to the structured approach, it is to inquiry is usually classified as a quantitative research, right? It is also called as a quantitative research. Unstructured approach is a qualitative research. So if you can able to observe the difference between qualitative and quantitative, then automatically you can able to understand the difference between both these two types of research. Quantitative means how much, okay? Qualitative means how good, okay? So that is the difference. Quantitative means how much quantity, qualitative means how good it is, right? So in this structured approach, everything that forms the research process, just like the objectives, design, sample, and the questions that you plan to ask of respondents is already predetermined. Okay, it is more appropriate to determine the extent of a problem or issue or phenomenon by by quantifying the variation. Okay, that means the very good example for the structured approach is that let's take how many people have a particular problem, how many people hold a particular attitude, like that. Okay, for example, if you are taking any one village, okay, so if you are taking any one village, that how many people are having one particular problem in that village, fine. So nowadays, due to this COVID-19 pandemic situation, so nowadays they are doing that in one particular area, how many people are having the problem, or how many people are affected with the virus. So like that, the quantity, okay. So within the specified area, the quantity means how many people are affecting. So if you are doing such type of things, okay, just like making the objectives and making one design, okay, and making the questions, so all these things, nothing but the very good example of the structured approach. And while coming to the unstructured approach, so it is to inquiry is usually classified as a qualitative research, as I told already. This approach allows flexibility in all aspects of research process, and it is more appropriate to explore the nature of a problem, nature of a problem or issue or phenomenon without quantifying it. That means in the same example, okay, in the same example I told that quantitative means in one particular area how many people are affected with the virus, that is quantitative. And while coming to the unstructured approach means here we are going to the nature of the problem, okay. What is the nature of the problem? That means if any one person is affected, then what is the reason of getting he is affected, and what is the habituates, okay, that means where he traveled from the past what we call from past 2 weeks, okay. So getting the, I mean, identifying the nature of the problem, okay, identifying the nature of the problem is nothing but a unstructured approach, fine. And while coming to the next topic, it is characteristics of the research. So coming to the characteristics, totally we are having the 6 different types of characteristics are there. One is a controlled, rigorous, systematic, valid, and verifiable, empirical, and critical, right? So in this characteristics, actually research is a process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information to answer the questions. But to qualify a research, the process must have certain characteristics, and it must be as far as possible, and it must be controlled, it must be rigorous, and it must be the systematic, and it must be the valid and verifiable, and it must be empirical and critical. So we will see what exactly these things are. control means in real life there are many factors that affect an outcome, right? So the concept of control implies that in exploring a causality in relation to the two variables or two factors, right? So you set up your study in a way that minimizes the effects of other factors affecting the relation. So, for example, let's take in the social sciences. Social sciences means hospitality, and the tourism will comes. Okay, especially I am taking the hospitality and tourism. So, in this case, it is extremely difficult as research is carried out on issues related to human beings living in society where such controls are not possible. So, therefore, in hospitalities and in tourism, you cannot control external factors. Okay, you attempt to quantify their impact. Fine. So, what exactly the controlled means? If you are taking any two variables to identify the relation between the two variables or the two situations, then try to make that whatever the effects, whatever the factors those are affecting this situation, try to minimize those. Okay, try to minimize those factors which are affecting this situation. And while coming to the hospitalities and the tourisms, generally, a situation means if the human beings are going to from one place to the another place for sightseeing, nothing but a tourism, then whatever the factors means just like cyclones happened in that place. So because tourism means something extreme climatic conditions, it might be there. So due to the happening of the cyclones or in some sudden type of situation, so these external factors we have to minimize, but we anyhow these natural type of calamities we cannot able to minimize. So definitely these things will affect the situations. So apart from this hospitality and the tourism, whatever the research you are doing, that means if you are trying to find out the relation between the two parameters, then whatever the factors affecting these things, these variables, try to minimize those factors. Okay, that is the first thing. And while coming to the rigorous means, the name itself it is telling that you have to keep on searching. You have to keep on searching. That means put your maximum effort to find the answers to the questions. Okay, and whatever the answers you are finding, it must be the relevant, appropriate, and justified. So up to getting such type of answers to your research questions or the research problems, you must rigorously do the literature survey, or you must rigorously do the work. And coming to the next one is systematic is one of the characteristic of the research. So it implies that you have to undertake an investigation, follow a certain logical sequence must be there. That means everything must be in the sequence way. The different steps cannot be taken in haphazard way. Okay, that means you have to follow some procedure. So whatever the answer you want to identify, or you want to find out for a research problem, then you have to do all the things in a systematic way. Okay, so that is main characteristic. You should not do the steps in a different ways. And coming to the valid and verifiable, so whatever the concepts you are finding out, so those concepts must be exactly correct, and it must not only verified by you, it must also be verified by the others. Fine. Next one is the empirical. So this means that any conclusion drawn based upon the evidence gathered from the information collected from real life experiences or the observations. Okay, it comes under the empirical. Right? That means whatever the conclusions you drawn based upon the evidence gathered from information, okay, that is collected from the real life experiences, your real life experiences, or the your friends real life experiences or the observations. So all these things are comes under the empirical. Right? And next one is the critical. So critical scrutiny of the procedures generally used to a research inquiry. The process of investigation must be very free from the drawbacks. Okay, so whatever the process you are adapting to find out the answer to the research problem, it must be free from the drawbacks, and the process adopted and the procedures used must be able to withstand in the critical scrutiny also. Right, that means whatever the research problem is there, if you find out one answer to the research problem, then automatically your PhD will be done. And so before finding out, that means before the certification of the PhD and after finding out the answer to your research problem, one strict scrutiny will be done, okay, by the external examiners or by the internal examiners. So even though this scrutiny is a very critical, then your answer must be perfectly validate to the research problem, whatever you thought. Right? So totally these are the different characteristics of the research. And now while coming to the next topic, that is positivism approach to the research. So always our approach to the research must be the positivism. So what exactly this positivism means? It is for the existence of the true and objective reality that can be studied through the applying the methods and principles of natural sciences or the scientific inquiry. Okay, so whatever the approaches you are doing, they must be true and objective. Okay, so we should not do any malfunctions at the time of finding out the answers for the research problems. And while coming to the positivists believe in the total five principles. What are the five principles? Are that one is phenomenalism, that is nothing but knowledge confirmed by the senses. That means whatever the ears, whatever the eyes, okay, so whatever the senses we are having, based upon the senses, whatever the knowledge you are gaining, so that knowledge will comes under this phenomenalism. And next one is deductivism. So deductivism means it is the purpose of theory to generate the hypothesis. Okay, hypothesis that can be tested to make the laws. That means if any one research problem is there, you will have one rough hypothesis. So based upon that idea, we can able to solve the research problem. So all these things comes under the hypothesis. And coming to the inductivism means based upon your idea for your research problem, you have to collect the facts. Okay, so and those facts must provide the basis for the loss or for the knowledge what you are having. And the next one is the objectivism. So objectivism means the science should be value free. Fine. That means whatever the answer you are finding out, that answer must be perfectly objectivities to your research problem. And last one is the statements. Whatever the statements you are having, you are getting from your literature survey, all the statements must be scientifically proven. Okay, there should not be imaginary thing or there should not be illusion things. And next one topic is the post-positivism approach to the research. So it is considered as a contemporary paradigm that developed as a result of the criticism of the positivism. That means whatever the positivism in this step, whatever the principles or whatever the things you did, so if any mistakes are finding out in that one, in order to rectify those mistakes, then you have to go to the post-positivism. Nothing but post-positivism is a result of criticism of the positivism. Fine. So generally, the post-positivists also believe in the existence of single reality. However, they acknowledge that reality can never be fully known, and efforts to understand the reality are very limited owing to the human being's sensory and intellectual limitations. Fine. So why? Because the post-positivism people will believe that whatever the reality we are trying to finding out based upon the previous literature survey or based upon the few journals, so the understanding capability of the human beings will be very limited. Okay, we cannot able to understand up to a 100% extent, so it will be the very limited based upon the human being sensory and the intellectual limitations. Fine. So it is regarding the post-positivism approach to the research. So totally these are the complete topics of what we discussed under the topic of the research. That is definitions, types of research, characteristics of research, positivism approach and the post-positivism approach. So definition means re is nothing but doing again and again, and search means you have to find out until getting the perfect answer to your research problems. And the research must be in a very structured way. And the types of the research, we're having the total, so here 2 and 4 and 2. That means the total 8 different types of research are there, and they're based upon the applications, objectives and the inquiry mode. So these are the different types of research. Pure research, nothing but hypothesis. Applied is nothing but one practical experiment we have to do. The descriptive and correlation research, explanatory and exploratory. In the based upon the inquiry mode, structured and unstructured. And coming to the characteristics of the research, controlled, rigorous, systematic and valid and verifiable, empirical and the critical, and the positivism approach and the post-positivism approach. Fine. So in the next video, we are going to, I'm going to do the video recording the second topic, that is the methods of the research. Fine. So hope you understood well, and share this video or the channel to as maximum as people who are preparing for the UGC NET exam. Fine. Thank you.